Down south, hunting is more than a pastime. It's a tradition. Whether you're tucked into a pine thicket for whitetail or chasing hogs through the bottoms, Nosler Ammo offers the kind of reliable, knockdown power that earns respect season after season. Trust the name that's built a reputation on performance. Trust Nosler.
Welcome to the Southern U Podcast, brought to you by Darden Archery on the OKest Podcast Network, with your co-host Matt Brock, Jeremy Ferguson, and Taylor McMurtry. If you're looking for all things land-related in the Southeast, you came to the right place. Whether it's real estate, habitat, wildlife, or just being outdoors, this is the place for you. Welcome to the Southern U. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Southern U Podcast, where we talk all things land-related in the South. I'm joined to my immediate left by this guy.
Some call him a real estate broker. Some call him a wildlife biologist. Some simply refer to him as the Ferg. Welcome to the show, the real estate, cattle, and habitat aficionado, Jeremy Ferguson.
Woo! What's up, everybody? What's up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And because you guys loved him so much, back by popular demand.
Yeah, Uncle Corey.
Yeah, Uncle Corey
keep
slash
liking
Cody
and
Green.
sharing, folks.
Yes, absolutely. Guys, it's been a minute. I know we have all had lots of stuff going on. It has been a quite peculiar deer season so far.
Let's back up. Deer season sucks.
Yeah, that's, I think many of our listeners share the sentiment. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I think most people understand. Those of you who have oak trees on your property, if you have a lot of them, it's made life difficult. If you had a few of them, you've probably had the best season of your life. Mm-hmm. But
if you're Matt Brock, it doesn't change.
No, I don't know. Worst season of your life because they all left if you don't have oak trees and then came back.
That's true.
Yeah. It's been a tough season.
It has been
unique.
And for at least most of the South is either has already experienced or is currently experiencing the thing that doesn't exist that Corey referenced.
The
Cody
the rut doesn't exist, y'all.
The mental figment that folks call the rut.
Yes.
The breeding season.
The peak of breeding season is upon us.
Is upon us. That's right.
And a lot of places in the state,
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of places in the state, y'all going, man, that happened 2 months ago.
Yeah. Or ain't happened yet.
Yeah, it's like, well, it may happen.
Welcome to Alabama.
Could happen again. You never know.
That's right. But yeah, it has been odd. And in that same spirit, we're going to jump into a topic that I think you guys are pretty interested in based on your responses and some of the stuff that we were gathering from Facebook and Instagram. You guys were putting out there wanting us to cover in 2026. And I know this is not the first episode because we dropped one on New Year's Day, but I guess we can officially say Happy New Year now.
Yeah, Happy New Year,
everybody. Hope you
year or Happy New Year's.
Yes,
that's what we like to say here in Alabama. Yeah. Happy New Year's.
Valentine's Day.
Right. Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Two of them at one time.
Yeah, exactly. But kind of in that same spirit of talking about rut and why some people really like it and why some people don't like it and why it seems to fluctuate according to who you ask.
The Brocks of the world.
Yes, exactly.
I hate it.
Gosh, I hate it too. I mean,
I think you just hate everything related to deer hunting this year.
No. I hate. I legitimately do not enjoy deer hunting in the South like I did when I was younger.
I don't think any of us that are getting our age do.
Yeah, but
I mean, I love it.
I'm used to, going to the Midwest 2 or 3 times a year, and that can
Scratches the itch.
It does, and it just takes the wind out of your sails.
And see, that's where I'm blessed. Is I've been to the Midwest. I've hunted here. You watch the last episodes. I spent a decade in Texas. Hunting the epicenter of whitetail deer hunting on the face of the planet. But I have never been blessed to never lose my passion to at least go sit in the woods in the state of Alabama some or in the southeast somewhere. I still do enjoy it, but not nearly as much as I did when I was 13 years old.
I think it's a lot of the other stuff that we've talked about, too. It's gotten so serious because there's so much money wrapped up in it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah. I enjoy going and hanging out.
See, that's me.
I enjoy. We grew up hunting together, Jeremy and I.
We hunting. We ain't hunting. We hunting.
Excuse me. Hunting. We going hunting.
That's right.
And we
going hunt them acres.
Yeah, and we've been more this year than we have in several.
Gosh, yeah.
Just because time has allowed us and life has allowed us to be able to do it. And I've had a blast just going and hanging out, but we ain't killed a cotton picking thing.
Except some time and some Benjamins.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we go hunting and start talking about going home and just shooting the guns. It's like, we just aren't that concerned anymore. We're having a good time, and that's what
matters.
With Chuck the other day. Hey.
Yeah, Matt's dad.
That's Matt's.
We go hang out with Matt's dad.
Yeah.
More than we hunt, probably.
Find a gentleman. Shout out to Chuck. Find a gentleman as ever was.
By the way, I'm glad you said shout outs. We forgot to do that, I think, on the last one, maybe. But shout out to Chuck.
Yeah.
Chuck's the man. And by the way, killed one Pistol with a 41 mag, a stud of a
good deer.
Yeah. And challenges me every time I see him to go kill one. I also have pistols, and he wants me to shoot one too. And I just
he wants you to shoot one with your 41 mag.
I hadn't got there yet, but one of these days.
That's pretty dadgum cool, though.
It is.
Yeah, it's very cool.
He's starting now after a deer with a old Winchester 30-30 iron sights. He's after one with that. Yeah. He said when he does that, he's got I may get the caliber wrong because it's an old gun. I think he said it was a 32-40.
That's what it was.
Wow.
And
it was his dad's.
It's his dad's. Yeah, it was
cool.
built in the 1890s. Yeah. Was when that gun was manufactured. He wants to kill a deer with it.
It's chrome plated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You walk out in the sunshine with it, and the airplanes are going to see the glint.
I mean, you halfway expect him to smile and have like a gold tooth or something.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Look at my shiny gun. I mean, it's
hey, listen,
it looks snazzy.
Y'all know more about gun stuff. I'm a bow guy, but my grandfather built make sure I get this caliber right. I always say it wrong. 257 Roberts.
Yeah.
Not a Rogers. I keep saying Rogers.
Yeah.
It's a 257 Roberts. Which I know is kind of a little on the fringe for being whitetail caliber. It's
that'll smoke a whitetail.
And a lot of people are like, yeah, you need to stick to coyotes with that. But I really want to kill a deer. I don't care what it is, a deer of some kind with that gun, just because it was his. It'd be a cool story because he built it, and I don't know that he didn't hunt. That was not his thing, but he did like to shoot some or whatever, and so it'd be kind of cool to do that.
I think we accidentally kind of went down that road. I guess that's fine. Like that's the tradition of hunting, whatever, man.
It's changed.
We've lost touch. At least that's our opinion, and a lot of people out there haven't. But the more of the hunting population we feel like have lost touch with what it really is supposed to be about,
and why we all started.
Right, exactly. And the thing, we told Chuck, I had the best time this past weekend. Just going over there and visiting with Chuck.
Oh yeah,
I mean, cooked 3 or 4 different types of deer sausage and was like arguing over which one was the best. Watched Jeremy over there eating Oreos. I mean,
whole glass of milk
life
Oreos.
don't get no better than that.
And where's Matt? Matt can get down on some.
Oh, he was dragging deer out of the woods.
Yeah, Matt was dragging deer out of the woods.
If he knew somebody,
We were not.
Yeah.
When we were in Texas, I had to, when we'd meet up, for y'all that don't know, I stayed with Matt Moore at his place, and y'all stayed over there like at the
at the ranch house.
At the ranch house, yeah.
The
and
package hunt.
So in the morning when we would meet up, I would have to bring Matt a glass of milk before it so he could go to start the day. Like, it's terrible, Matt. So
the Brocks, they like their milk.
They do.
Yeah, I'm the same way, so I can't say anything.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Let's
anyway.
Yeah, let's jump to
derail.
the topic.
Yeah, but yeah, if y'all do have shout outs, I know y'all did Chuck. I'm gonna give a shout out real quick to Devin and Jared at Alabama Firearm Academy. We were over there filming some stuff today, and we'll probably have to go back and film a little bit more. But they have some really. We did an episode with them on their range, talking about all their stuff. You can check that out if you want to. But they're just cool. They're just good guys, and they have a sure enough state of the art facility for really anything firearm related.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, whether that's some of you guys that are getting suppressors, silencers. I mean, that's.
Cerakote, laser engraving.
Yes, I mean if it can be done,
they got you run of the mill.
I was really
rifles for you regular old deer hunters, and they got some pretty high end stuff for people like me that like collecting and long range shooting and stuff like that.
I was blown away at their inventory, man. I had no idea.
Well,
I haven't got to go up there.
Yeah,
I've had a dozen people. You been up there? I'm like, no, and no. It's a nice place.
Yes, and they have revamped kind of their approach too. They kind of, I won't say polled their customer base, but they just kind of put out some feelers and it's like, what do you guys like that we do? What do you think we're good at? What do you think our strengths are? What should we get rid of, or what should we maybe not focus on as much?
Smart business.
And they've got more inventory now than they've ever had in the store.
Yep.
And it's made a huge difference.
Yep.
I mean,
and some really nice stuff.
Yes, for sure. So they're located here in North Alabama in Boaz. So if you're in the area, stop by and see them. But, they can help you out with whatever. And they're also a whatever it's called when you have to have a firearm transfer.
FFL.
There you go. Yeah. They're
FFL, SOT. They got all the
ABCD,
goods.
EFG.
Yeah.
Whatever. So they got it going on. But that was mine for Devin and Jared.
Well, I'm gonna give a little one to a friend of mine, and he's a timber buyer and does not listen to our podcast. Probably never know that we're talking about him. But Will Shaver with Reynolds Timber. We have been struggling to get some timber cut in the last several months, and if you're in the timber business, now is not a great time in the timber business. But I really challenge Will to go to work and get us some decent prices. And, of course, that's easier said than done. But he's done a lot of negotiating over the last several months. And if you saw our little clip today, we're laying wood on the ground and actually getting some pretty decent prices for where we are in the market.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. Excited about where we're headed on that piece of property. It's going to be probably a 3-4 year development project, but kind of like I said, in that little clip today, land management isn't always pretty. You got to break a few eggs to make a cake. So we're getting started, and it's going to be a long process. But when we're done, it's going to be jam up.
It's going to be a pretty property for sure.
No doubt. Well, I guess we can jump right into the topic of discussion. And seeing as we're talking about rut and all those sort of things, everybody's got an opinion as to what they're seeing, what the perceived activity is. Deer are running everywhere, or it's a ghost town, and the rut never happened, or the rut happened 2 months ago, or the rut is going to happen in 2 weeks, or whatever.
That's right.
It's very site specific, but it has to do with a lot more things. So we're going to talk about something that hopefully you guys, based on your responses, want to hear about, and that is buck to doe ratio for your deer herds.
I want to say one thing too. I treat opinions a whole lot like a handful of other things, and I primarily treat opinions like excuses. Everybody's got one, Some stink worse than others.
Right.
kind of like your rear ends.
Right.
Man, there has been some fine opinions of what we talk about and stuff that's been proven by science. So it's not really our opinion.
Yeah.
Hey,
we're just spouting out science.
Spat that stuff out, and he was like, "That's a bunch of garbage." And I'm like, "Well,
that's fine. That can be your opinion, and I'm not going to argue with you."
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It could be bad science.
Hey,
but I don't think so.
No, here's the thing. At least for the time being, this is still America, and you are entitled to say whatever you feel like saying. That's totally fine. You, whatever your opinion is, you have at it, man. That's what we're about. So
hopefully nobody out there that listens to this would argue that.
No. We want you to be able
to. I want to say one other thing, and I'm not going to dox the guy or call him out his particular name, but there's a guy in our circles, and somehow, he comments occasionally on our stuff, but primarily does a lot of posting about the CWD topic. And one thing I said in relation to some of the comments he was making is, science does change over time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We may be at the prefaces. Yeah, prefaces. Anyway, we may be right here where at the point that we're going to start learning new things about CWD. Yeah, we haven't learned anything earth-shattering recently, and I'm saying earth-shattering, nothing just totally new.
Some people might argue that, but
and look, there's been some new things that come out, but it's not. We've had that opinion, but we couldn't prove it. Right. Now, with the talk of some of the other research coming out, we may actually learn things that we didn't believe, don't believe, still don't. But it's early. Mm-hmm. So, science changes. We're going to figure things out. You just got to give it time and don't be so, ingrained in your antitrust.
Yeah. I think that some of the things that are going around right now, if it comes to fruition and we in time, in fact, learn, hey, maybe CWD isn't as big of a deal as we thought it might be. I think the biological community is going to jump up and down and scream and holler and go, "Oh, thank God. It's one less thing we got to worry about."
Yeah.
And they're still going to get paid.
Instead of darn, we getting our paychecks cut.
Yeah, they're still going to get paid.
Right. So anyway, all right, let's get to the subject at hand there, right. Taylor. Sorry.
No,
we'll quit chasing rabbits.
We're good. So talking about buck to doe ratio, you hear a lot of things thrown out, and I'll say the majority of advice, tips, tricks, tactics, whatever you want to call that, primarily are coming from the Midwest, where I would argue, and again, y'all know me by now. Hopefully, if you've listened to this podcast, you know I'm not a biologist. I don't claim to be one. I don't act like one. But it does seem to be a little easier to manage deer herd in the Midwest because of there is so much open ground, and you kind of have the ability to see. You just put eyes on more deer.
Yes. Yeah, it's a cakewalk.
Yes, you can more easily manage a deer herd there than you can here, just because of the terrain and the topography.
Yeah, the access to the deer.
Yes,
right. Yeah, you can count deer.
Right.
Where you can see them.
Right.
You can't where you cannot see them.
Exactly. So, with that being said, this kind of first question here: when you talk about buck to doe ratio, what does a healthy ratio look like? And how would that differ maybe in the South as opposed to somewhere like the Midwest? Because everybody throws around the 1-to-1. Well,
but it's going to be different. Like always, it does depend.
It depends.
Yep, it definitely depends. It can be goal oriented. If you're trying to grow and hunt a, air quotes here, trophy managed property. Mm-hmm. People in the South still strive for as close to 1-to-1 as you can get. I don't prefer it, don't like it. There's too much, there's too much competition amongst bucks for does. You're going to lose a higher percentage of your bucks just strictly to overstress from them fighting for mates. My target is generally going to be somewhere between that 1 to 2, 1 to 3. That's where I want to land. But other people may have different desires.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other follow-up question to that is, let's just pretend, devil's advocate. Let's say you're a huge proponent for 1-to-1, and that's your thing. In most areas of, just say Alabama, because that's where we're at, but we'll take the Southeast in general. Is it even possible to get a 1-to-1 in a wild free-ranging deer herd? There's no fences. There's no anything. I mean, how hard or how difficult is that to even do?
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah,
it would be extremely difficult.
You could even go the other way.
Yeah,
you could have more bucks than you've got does.
Sure,
it's not easy.
Yeah, what's going to be the hardest thing in a free-ranging deer herd in the Southeast is actually, getting the data to really tell you when you want to get that specific is to tell if you actually are getting 1-to-1, because it's really hard to do. And that's as far as the getting a census or whatever that's going to tell you actually got there. I mean, it's going to be rough.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You can try to say you've got a 1-to-1.
Right.
But we can't even count every deer on a piece of property, so there's no way to know.
Right.
You can
if you're getting close. Now.
Yeah, you can get close. And we got a variety of methods to count deer or census deer. We're never going to know how many there truly are. I mean, that's tough in a fenced population, an enclosed population. Yeah. So it's more or less impossible on the free ranging herd, unless you don't have any deer.
Yeah,
pretty easy if you don't have any deer. Say, hey, there's no deer.
This is just y'all tell me if this sounds. I ask stupid questions sometimes, so this could be dumb. So prepare yourself. but that to me seems like, let's just say that you had a property that, again, is hypothetical, but you knew that you had a 1-to-1 ratio on a specific piece of property. Let's just call it 2,000 acres or something. Is it not just like a absolute razor's edge of over harvest, under harvest if you get to that point?
Can be.
I mean, it's like, oh gosh, we really only need to shoot whatever this many does, and if we accidentally killed a couple more, or not enough. And now
that's going to completely depend on your fawn recruitment at that point.
Yeah,
and the amount of deer you're bringing into the population. Because if you're, like we were talking about earlier, if you're, if you're people can understand. Excuse me. If you got 100 or 1.5 recruitment, if you're getting a doe and a half on average, we know we can't have half of a fawn, okay? But if you're getting that on average on your landscape, then you can shoot all does you want, But if you're 0.5, then you got a problem. You can't harvest that many does.
And see, that was what happened in our state in Alabama. Matt and I and Chris Cook and Bill Gray and all of us that were on the deer committee, we did a lot of data crunching. We took a lot of data, so we killed a lot of deer. We did a whole lot of surveys, and that's why Zone C, if I remember correct, but the North Alabama zone that had the reduced antlerless harvest, that's why it was created, because for years and years and years, the recruitment rate that we were finding was it was below 0.7. I don't remember the exact number. 0.68 sticks out in my head, but it's been a while. But we weren't even recruiting one in, and we, so if you're taking out does and you're not even getting one fawn per doe back, then you're going backwards.
Yeah.
And the state previously had a number of years where it was 2 does a day. Just 2 does a day, have at it. And in our part of the world up here, where, the Cumberland Plateau, the Piedmont, where our recruitment rates were lower, we drove the population into submission in places.
Yeah.
And that was why we started all of that and then developed new zones.
Well, I know that it's probably as unique to again, I'm familiar with Jackson County because that's what I hunted growing up and stuff. But there were like areas, there's pockets and places within Jackson County that's just endless amounts of timber, of hardwood.
That's it.
And you would hunt that stuff and have other buddies and friends that hunt that stuff. And maybe you hunt for 3 or 4 days and nobody sees a deer. It's like, how can there be this much land and not see a deer? How? There has to be deer out here, but it's like, but that's why, because they killed them all.
That's absolutely why.
They laid them out.
And I can tell you from experience, I had 1,400 acres in Jackson County that, let's see, nearly 1,000 of it was in the mountains. So close canopy hardwood forest. About 300 was in the bottoms, and it was a creek bottom and a giant cornfield. You could go hunt that cornfield, and in the bottoms, you see deer every time you went. Morning, afternoon, saw deer every time. Didn't matter. You go to those mountains, and I kept a log book. I forget how I'd have to dig the book up, but I hunted an entire season, and in the mountains, I saw a total of 8 deer in the mountains. None of them were on our property. They were across the line. We had some access trails, up the kind of on the property line, and you couldn't see a whole long way in those woods. So a lot of times I'd hunt our roads with a bow, especially just so I could see some, up and down through there, and hopefully catch deer coming up and down. And that was where I would see, a handful of deer. But you go down 2 miles down the road and hunt the cornfield, and there's deer there every time you're there.
Yeah.
And a pile of them.
Yeah.
Usually.
But it's just, but that, I guess, I remember being a kid, and I know everything is like magnified, or, when you're a kid, it seems like everything is bigger and larger and more of a big deal when you're a kid, but like Dad would drag me to the woods, and I'm like, Dad, we've been out here like the last 4 or 5 weekends and ain't seen a deer. Is there a deer out here? Like, do they exist?
Yeah, that's right.
Or like, what are we doing? And it's because they just got hammered. I get, you know what I mean?
They did. And part of where you're talking about that old club, it don't even exist anymore. It's old B&G club. I think was close to 10,000 acres. Heck, may have been more at one time. I'm not real sure. But B&G had a lot of good deer and killed a lot of good deer. But one thing that hurt them, and it hurt us too, is our property and B&G was bordered by the WMAs. Right. And at certain times, WMAs were killing too many deer. They've kind of backed off the gun seasons on them now a little bit, and I think they're getting a little better. But, there were times where there were people hunting WMAs and hunting them hard, and nobody was seeing deer.
Right. And up there, too, you got to, which, we keep talking about, Jackson County, bro. This is extreme, the northeast Alabama and
on the Georgia-Tennessee line.
And on the Appalachian mountains, and it's some rough country.
It is.
And what deer there pressured really hard, and they got
extremely
really, really, really good cedar thickets and rocks and stuff that they can get in there and hide. So, it's not the easiest hunting in the world.
No,
by far. So,
no, you have to think, especially like during gun season and stuff, you got to really, really think hard. Do I really want to shoot this deer?
Oh, yeah.
Because if I do, it's going to the bottom.
Right.
I've got to figure out what I'm going to do after that.
Yeah, I've had years when I've went up there and bow hunted and walk, this has been over 10 years ago, and walk a mile, literally, in there, and then walk half a mile up the side of a mountain, climb a tree, and get up in there. You're hunting. And you get up there, and, here comes 7 does. And I'm like, well, I just need some meat, draw back, whop, shoot one. Because I usually, if I hunt bow hunt only. Right. When it's not, I don't go do the rifle hunts, honestly. And then you shoot one, she runs out there and falls, and you're like,
great.
What did I just do? I've hey, it's downhill, but still, 1.5 miles back to the truck, through the mountains, it's like, that was dumb. That was really dumb.
Yeah, I know. And every now and then we get comments from some of you guys out west, like, yeah, I bet it is tough dragging those deer 200 yards. Come out to these mountains and dragging, put an elk hindquarter on your back and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we get it, man.
Right.
We get it.
That northeast corner is no more friendly to a human than the hills in Kentucky, the hills in West Virginia.
It may be worse.
I've been in them.
Yeah.
I've been in the Kentucky hills. I've been in the West Virginia hills. I've been in PA.
I've worked in them.
Yeah, there's nothing any harder about those mountains than ours in the northeast corner of the state.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
some of the North Georgia mountains just a little further east than us are worse than those.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's almost to the
Animals
point.
are bigger out there. I'll say that.
Yeah.
You
No doubt.
You got bigger animals to drag around.
Yeah,
but
you
it's
can
still
almost
no
say
fun.
the point technically where a lot of it's not huntable. I mean, just flat out.
Yeah, it's just
There's just no way.
just bluff.
You can't get in there. If you shot one,
Rappel down.
These guys when my little brother does carry a backpack and try to debone some of it and get its antlers, and that's about it. He'll just carry it out of there because you're going to be climbing out because you had to climb in because it's that rough. But anyway, that's
No, anyways, I guess moving on here to the second question. What are the biggest biological consequences of an unbalanced buck-to-doe ratio, both during the rut and throughout the rest of the year?
Well, I mean, the biggest one is not having a concise rut. And, in my opinion, somebody else may argue, but for me, having too many does on the landscape and bucks not able to service those does, you're drawing out your breeding season. Therefore, you're having long-lasting impacts there. One, hunting the rut, for those of you that like it, there's not much of a rut to it. It's just kind of a trickle. There's always some does coming in and out, and you might catch a buck on one versus like where we've been hunting the last couple of weeks. We've got let's call it a 20-day window where they're going hard, and you're gonna see bucks on their feet. Now the problem with that is here, there's plenty of thick cover that deer can get in, and we've talked that, really to the bone, where you hunt during the rut and it being thick and the whole nine. But I prefer to have that short window so that I'm not having spotted fawns, in December or January or whatever.
After,
even after. Somebody commented talking about seeing rutting activity in like turkey season. Well, yeah. I mean, if they miss being bred here, in that late January, early February time frame, you bounce out, another 28 days, you may actually start seeing some deer activity or breeding activity during turkey season.
It's not impossible.
And then that spells disaster as well, because then you've moved into antler cast, and the antlers are starting to dissolve and where they're going to drop, and you've still got bucks competing. And then, when they can fight and compete and they bust that pedicle, that's where you're getting a lot of your spike on one side deer, or crazy looking deer, or breaking that skull plate and getting brain infection and dying.
And I think that's where a lot of people really, really don't understand just how brutal the rut breeding on herd in herds that are not balanced properly can be. Where you on landscapes that you have a ton of bucks. Like Jim said earlier, you can go the other way. You can get 1-to-1.
Absolutely.
You can get 2 bucks to 1 doe. And I've been on properties that are like that in my career. A lot of them actually. They're mostly it was in Texas, but they're stacking these bucks.
That's right.
The more buck, the higher chances you have of growing a Boone and Crockett or a 200-inch deer, and in those areas, I have seen it time and time again firsthand. people don't understand how brutal the rut can be, especially for a buck deer. And mature bucks, when you have a lot of them, let's just say more than you have does. I mean, if they're drawing that out into months, you're going to lose a lot of your deer that are on the landscape. Your bucks are not going to make it through.
Especially anybody that's got a lot of mature bucks. Just talking strictly buck to doe ratio.
Right.
If you've got a lot of mature bucks and even more bucks than you've got does, and those bucks are mature, you're losing a high percentage of your deer just to the mortality events from them fighting or getting run down. I mean, I filmed a little clip while I was in Kansas of those bucks fighting out in the field. Look, our deer here fight. They do, but I would say it's probably a rarity in unbalanced herd that deer have to fight and get into a fight where they're willing to die.
Right.
To breed.
Yeah.
They may run into a little bit of competition and go, okay, well, there's 30 more right over there in that little thicket. I'll go over there. I'm not going to fight for it.
In a balanced herd where, you're closer, I'm not going to say it is, but it's closer to that 1-to-1, and your breeding window is more concise, then, those bucks they're going to breed. And when those does, for the most part, they stop cycling, they're going to kind of lose interest, and it just takes the stress off these bucks, and it's not drawn out like it would be in a more unbalanced herd. And it also, your hierarchy of bucks is going to be more established in a more balanced herd. And it just overall, but there again, like I say, and that's kind of alluding back to what we've got to, everybody wants to grow these older, bigger, more mature, bigger antlered deer. That's great. But when you get a ton of older age class deer on a property, not that that's a bad thing, but there can be.
It just comes with some consequences.
Right. There can be, hey, man, we found, 2 or 3 deadheads after season. Expect that, because bullets are not the only thing that kills deer.
That's right.
They will kill themselves, and they will just, we already, deer bucks lose 30-40% maybe of their body weight from, the time the season comes.
Shape.
Right. And the more it's drawn out, the more weight they're going to lose, the worse shape they're going to get in. And then therein lies your lag time for them to start eating after they've cast their antlers and catch back up, essentially, nutritionally, so they can have a better set of antlers to fall. If you're that far behind already, it's going to be hard playing catch up.
And I want to clarify something, because it does sound like we're talking out both sides of our mouth a little bit, and we kind of are.
Right.
That, hey, having an unbalanced herd is bad, and B, having a bunch of mature bucks is bad.
Right.
Well, you're going to lose some of those mature bucks if you've got a bunch of mature bucks, because they're going to fight. But losing a couple, even the benefits, the benefits to having a herd that's balanced where you're losing a couple of mature bucks outweighs having an imbalanced herd where you're just having stress.
Or severely unbalanced.
Right. Yeah. Where you're just having stress just compounded throughout their entire lives, instead of, hey, we're really stressed for about a month, okay? But after that, we're going to hang out and we're going to eat and we're going to build back up.
Right.
Yeah.
And extremely unbalanced herds, that's just not happening.
Right. And there you go again, and that's a buck to doe ratio. Okay. And what I'm speaking more to is maybe not necessarily your ratios off, but you have an extremely dense population.
Right.
Because, you can have 100 deer on your farm with a 1-to-1 ratio, or you can have 50 deer on your farm with a 1-to-1 ratio. So either way, that's more, great point. But what I was alluding to is, if you just get a ton of deer and you've got tons of bucks, great sex ratio is fine. But if you get overpopulated and you're just trying to you don't
Try
have
to stockpile too many
you don't
deer.
have any trigger management, then you know that's I've been through it with some properties. It's like, guys, if you want to do this thing and you really want to get out here and spend money and plant and manage this place and
pull the trigger.
have more deer, you have got to harvest some of them.
Well, and that's like what y'all tell me if I'm wrong. What I think I'm hearing you guys say is it's kind of a compounding effect where if you've got a way out of whack, skewed sex ratios, and you've got bad habitat, which is kind of the recipe for all of Alabama, for the most part, that then you have extended breeding seasons and you have too many deer on the landscape, but not enough nutrition for them. Now we've got a widespread problem.
And see, that's why you get so many comments to, our content of, well, that's not happening on our place, or this is what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. People they're not that they're not listening to us, but I guess they're not really taking to heart that when we say it depends, it does.
Yeah.
It depends on this square mile. It depends on this square mile. Extrapolate that across the entire state. It's going to depend on your location.
Right.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell you what's going on until they put boots on the ground and they understand it. We're just talking about the overall basics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in generalities, but still specific
enough
content. But, case in point is like over there where we are. It's so funny. People don't understand just how dynamic our ecosystem can be and just how dynamic deer populations can be across the landscape. You go a mile down the road, and this is something you've been over a million times for years now, and we finally came to the conclusion we have an island population right there that is kind of became of its own. You go down the road and you're killing 185 pound deer in the rut, and buck, and still fairly healthy, and maybe 140, maybe it's 160. Right. You go over there and look, there what we got. If you kill 140 pound buck in the rut, you jumping for joy. On average, our buck's there. 120. It's just like
like we've got 2 leases over there, and some of it's on property and whatnot. I'm not going to get too deep into that, but where Matt hunts and where I hunt right there, relatively close to them, and some of it right next to them, and then I lease another piece of property down the road that you and Kyle have hunted. Our average 4-year-olds are going to be 200 pounds right there around Matt and where we hunt there. Our average 4-year-olds over where y'all hunt, 130 pounds.
Yep.
Average antler score of a good solid deer over there closer to Matt, they're going to be generally 130 inches.
I mean, that's a fine deer.
Yeah, some bigger, some a lot bigger, some smaller. You go over to where we're talking about hunting, where I'm at, or that particular lease is, and we've killed in over a decade. Your Kyle and Cody's little brother has killed 100 and what?
100. He's about 134, I think.
Okay, 134 inch 10 by leaps and bounds, the largest deer that we've ever killed, had on camera, heard about right there. And this year we happen to have another decent deer. He's not that big, but a decent deer.
I might disagree with him, but
but
I'd love to see him on the ground for the end of the season.
But Matt's buddy from Pennsylvania came down and they hunted over there and killed one of the mature bucks we had on camera. Okay, a 4-year-old buck. Right down the road from where our 4-year-olds, are scoring 130, 200 pounds. This deer had less than 90 inches on his head and weighed 123 pounds as a 4-year-old. And it boils down to one thing.
Nutrition.
Yeah. Habitat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not getting anything to eat there. I don't own that property, so I can't cut the timber, but it is in bad shape. It needs timber cut bad. And some of the surrounding properties are the same way, but it's because our pulpwood market is just non-existent there. So you don't thin pines until they're in their 20s, 22, 23, 24, somewhere in that age where they're big enough to be chip and saw, and we can go to a mill that's close by. They'll take that because, there again, no pulpwood. So you've got a 20 to 24 year span that they're not getting food.
Oh yeah.
So that is compounded generation after generation to where it's just a smaller deer.
Yep. Oh, I was shocked. Now, when we hunted, this was opening weekend of archery season. So opening weekend of deer season over there. Me and Kyle went, and he was like, "Hey man, what do you think about maybe running over there to one spot? We'll dump some corn out," and I brought a camera.
Yeah.
And we'll just stick a camera on here and just see what happens. And I'm like, man, this, probably not going to find that corn that fast. You know what I mean? We're only going to be here for 2 days, basically, and then we got to go home. There were deer on that within 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah.
After it was poured out. And I told Matt about it. He's like, yeah, they're starving to death, man. They have nothing to eat over there.
We're seeing the consequences of adverse epigenetical effect.
Right.
Yeah, they're going backwards.
Yes.
Right.
And when you improve that habitat, which I pray comes soon, I pray that the epigenetical effect will go the other direction
Quickly.
as fast as
we
it
hope.
can. So about 2 generations, we want to expedite that in every way that we might can. Because my gosh,
I mean,
it's a ton of fun hunting over there.
But it's a food driven system.
Yeah.
And man, we just don't have it over there. And our deer, they're not high quality.
Yeah.
It's still deer hunting. You
you
can go over there and have fun.
You went Sunday afternoon over to the other property.
I did.
And you saw a 4-year-old, probably 100, maybe close to 120.
Right at 120.
120-inch deer, big old, nice buck.
120-inch 7-point, by the way.
I mean, he's a nice deer. Jeremy films him on his phone. He just walks across Greenfield. Jeremy like, I didn't even pick the gun up. Well, if he'd have been over on the other place, he'd have knocked the wind out of the shooting. I was trying to get the gun
right. He would have been dead.
And I mean, literally, it's not a. Let's be realistic here. It's 6 or 7 minute drive.
Yeah, 3.5 miles.
Yeah, it's a 6-minute drive.
A deer could potentially see the same deer.
Yeah, he could pick
we
up a
don't,
doe.
Okay, but potentially, if a deer picked up and went on one of those excursions, he could be over there.
Yeah, and then over the place that Matt lets me hunt some.
Yeah,
that is just across town. I've killed 2 of the biggest deer I've ever killed. One is the biggest deer I've ever killed in the state of Alabama. 140.
146, I think, wasn't it?
It wasn't that big. It's just right at 140.
I thought it was just a shade under 150.
He didn't have the time length, but he's I think that is the biggest deer that I've shot in the state. But he was deep in the rut because back then I would only come and hunt.
Yeah, because you were living in Texas.
Yeah, and he was 198 or 100.
Yeah, he was just a shade
He's
under
a 200-pound deer then, and then
so he would have been 220-ish probably.
Yeah, I mean he was a doggone thumper now. And then the other deer was a good deer that I killed over there. Yeah, I mean just big bodied, great deer there. And it's just see you go over that little pocket where we're at. It's just like almost like midget deer.
That's why, and I hate giving Matt credit for anything.
Oh,
it
come on,
drives me nuts.
You love him.
I do love him, but I hate. Look, I'd rather drive him in the ground with a hammer than give him credit. Yeah. But his company name, Habitat First, he hit the nail on the head.
Oh yeah, he did great.
It is about habitat.
Yeah.
Number one, that's what it's about. Second, it is going to be what we're talking about, buck to doe ratios, age class structure. They're all going to be right there entwined.
Yeah.
But those are all controlled by depending on what quality firearm you're shooting.
Yeah.
It could be a 1/16 of an inch or it might be a half inch. I don't know what you're shooting.
Yeah.
But this right here controls the rest of it.
Yeah.
You have
and that was my trigger finger for those listening.
Yes.
In the hunting world, in land management world we live in, these days it's, and it's everybody's wanting to grow deer. Everybody wants to see more deer.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see bigger deer. That's a good thing. And we, I don't know if it's going to be another episode or whatever. We get into, hunting and where it's gotten to, and where it came from. And I would love that topic, but there's so much, being spent on that. And growing a big deer and manipulating everything to get a certain outcome, you can't forget that you can't do one management practice without doing the other. If you're going to do habitat management, you got to do harvest management.
Yeah.
It's not one.
It's a whole lot like standing in a windstorm and pissing into the wind.
Yeah. And if you don't do anything, that is the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It's not going to happen.
I'm going to speak up for the regular folk here, though, because let's just say, like, Jeremy said, "Hey, look, man, I don't own that property. It's a lease. I have no control over the habitat.
Yeah.
I can plant a food plot. I can put a feeder out. I can throw some sort of whatever your favorite mineral block or something like that out there. That's all I can do."
Here's your two choices.
So what can you do?
Here's your two choices. Be satisfied with what you got, number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, spend more money.
Yeah.
That's your two choices.
Yep. Yeah. But
if you don't have the money,
yeah,
be satisfied with what you got.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
But don't be afraid to try stuff.
No.
That's legal.
That's right.
And give us a call. Call your local biologist.
Yep.
Ask, is there anything that you think we can do? Get away. Call your timber company. Sometimes the smallest things can have results.
Oh, yeah.
Spraying your roadsides, getting rid of invasives. There's a lot of stuff that can be done that sometimes people overlook, that just a little bit can sometimes go a long way, especially over time.
And the things that have the biggest impact are the ones that people are so adverse to, which is kind of what kills me. And I've talked about him before, had a past client here locally that if I told him to do anything, he would spend whatever I told him to improve his property.
Sure.
He won't cut timber, which is going to make him money, because he's seen what bad logging looks like, and he's like, that ain't going to be my place. And well, he's still a friend, but he's no longer a client, because the only thing that he can do to achieve his goals is make trees leave that place. Otherwise, he's going to be where he's at.
Right.
And so, don't be afraid to risk it all if you're willing to take those chances. If you're that serious about your management. Yeah. Some people aren't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we're way off subject.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
But the bottom line is, if you don't do anything, things are not going to change.
They're going to get worse.
Yes.
When it comes to
absolutely.
Deer.
So,
because deer are still breeding, deer are still doing what they're doing. If you are absent, then they're just going to continue.
If you're scared to make a move and you want to see something and you're not happy with what you got, you better do something.
Yeah.
So,
no doubt. Jumping back on the rails here, maybe. Let's see. This next question: for a landowner or a lease manager, which would be the majority of you guys listening, what are the most practical ways to first measure your buck to doe ratio, and then to how can you adjust it? Other than, obviously, I think you're like you guys listening, trigger finger. That's the adjustment. I'm assuming.
That is the adjustment.
But an accurate measurement. You already said, like, hey, we'll never know exact if we've got a 1-to-1 or a 4-to-1 or a whatever. We'll never know exactly. But what's the?
And I'm going to say that depends on the level of input you're willing to put into it.
Yeah.
And by input, I mean how much money you're willing to put into it. I would, before I made big sweeping changes to my harvest strategy and I could afford it, I would do at least 2 types of surveys to try to get a relative count to what kind of deer numbers you've got and the percentage of bucks to does and your age class structure before I made big sweeping changes. You can do that through the Jacobson method using trail cameras.
Now, time out for a second. I know that's a very well-known and talked about stuff.
Harry Jacobson.
Harry Jacobson.
But explain the Jacobson method just for people who maybe don't know
Okay,
what that is.
so simple terms are you put a camera out every 85 to 100 acres and you put it out for a set period of time. You bait those stations ahead of that time, get deer coming, for a couple of weeks. Then you deploy the cameras. And generally, it's been done from 10 to 14 days.
Pre-baiting. Pre-baiting.
Pre-baiting.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you can run the cameras shorter lengths of period, but you're going to decrease your the quality of data that you're getting. The longer you run them.
10 to 14 days, I think, is what's generally recommended.
10 to 14. Yeah. You can go longer and fine-tune because you do miss a few deer here and there. Mm-hmm. But what they're trying to get you to is a confidence interval of about 90%. Yeah. You just want to know
and
roughly.
The longer you run it, the smaller your margin of error becomes. So.
But I would want to couple something like that with a drone survey. Look, spotlight counts work. They're kind of here. They're tough. Because we've got so much dense forest with pine plantations in areas that you can do those and do those efficiently. Look, they work great. Most people don't do pellet counts anymore. Yeah. You can do them. I would stick with the drone surveys now where you can, and with the camera surveys back that up. Back
bare
those in
minimum,
together.
At least do a camera survey.
Yeah.
Jacobson method.
Yeah.
At least, and that's what's
and
been
you can
leaned on for decades.
You can do those yourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can pull up the methodology of the Jacobson method for camera surveys, and you can buy the cameras and you can deploy them, do your pre-baiting. And look, the fact of the matter is the reason camera surveys are so expensive for folks like us to do is they're extremely time consuming.
Yes.
Because you have to go through every single picture.
Yeah.
Technology is better.
Sure.
So it kicks out, pictures where there's coons, possums, coyotes, but that technology.
If you have that technology.
That technology is not perfect either.
Yeah, sure.
So right now, you're kind of still left with, you might run it through one of those systems, but you're going to go back and you're going to check it.
Yeah.
But for the vast majority of people, they're still going through every individual picture.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's bottom line personally. If I'm going to go do one for somebody, I prefer just do it and go through it and edit it and look at every single picture.
A lot of people might think, man, that would be awesome to look at deer pictures. Okay.
No.
Looking at 1,000, okay.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. 5,000, whoa, not fun.
Yeah.
When you get 30,000,
on one survey,
you're like, okay,
it's work, guys.
My life is over for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. It's like, man, being a biologist has got to be fun. It's got to be great. It's like,
there's parts of it.
There's sometimes.
There's parts of it that are terrible.
But then that's what's like, man, it costs how much to do a camera survey? And I'm like, man, we're talking about like
hours and hours.
Homeboy
and hours.
is sitting in a recliner, or at a table or a desk or whatever for lots of hours to break this down. But as you say, you take pride in your work. You want to do, especially, I'm going to charge you, but I'm going to do you a good job.
Matt and I used to do a handful of them a year, and I haven't done one in a couple of years, and I'm not going to volunteer to do one anymore. If somebody really twisted my arm, I'd take a percentage and get somebody else to do it for them.
Lazy sucker.
But, man, just going through those pictures are tough. But back to that, just the methodology is there. Look, I would really lean on these guys that are the drone professionals to tell you how efficient they can be with counting deer in closed canopy pine stands. My suspicion is it's not very good, but it might be adequate. That's a topic I'm not going to say, yeah, use that or don't use that. I'd talk to our buddy Trayton or a couple of these other folks that do that and use those thermal drones. In other parts of the country that you don't have all these thousands of acres of closed canopy pines that's thick as hair on the dog's back. Yeah, thermal drone's going to work great.
I imagine this time of year in hardwood stands, it's great.
Yeah, it's no problem.
And an amazing tool in the Southeast that is, it's a new thing, not like us in Texas. We flew and, out there, there's a lot more of money.
Yes, lots more money.
And we
management especially.
I've logged tons and tons. The only person we know would probably be Matt Moore. It's got more than me sitting in a helicopter counting deer. Because that's how we do it out there is from the air in a helicopter, actually going, that's a this and that, and we got.
And I can attest to that because I've done it too.
Yeah, he's been out there with it. It's like, this drone stuff here in the Southeast now is, basically the same thing. Flying transects, and that's a pretty awesome tool to have nowadays. That wasn't possible in the past.
Oh yeah, so for sure.
$10,000 drone, $5 million helicopter. They're kind of similar.
Yeah. $600 an hour in fuel versus whatever. Yeah,
and I don't know. A helicopter may not be that much. It may be 3 times that. I don't have a clue.
I don't have a clue.
$8 an hour for Cody.
Yeah, I would imagine that your helicopter's not be quite that bad, but the guy flying it has probably got to have his. So
his money. Yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt. They ain't cheap. And we don't. You don't want a cheap helicopter pilot.
No. I'll skip out on some stuff. I don't want to skip out.
I've been with one or two, and it's like, hey man, you know what? You know how to land this thing. You do it.
Yes.
Let me get out of it.
Preferably in one piece.
Yeah. Get me out of it.
Hey, I'll say this. I mean, that was not a survey, thing that we went last year to Texas, but I will say that pilot and that gunner had it going on.
Yeah. Did you get to go up?
I didn't know.
No.
It's like a 2-seater.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
a 22.
It was a 22.
Okay.
But man, they don't miss. Those guys do.
They do,
much.
but it ain't. Yeah, usually if they do, it's a guy training. But yeah, I do miss those days though.
Yeah.
Remember the first time I ever got in a 22, and Dusty Holt looked at me and he goes, "I said, hey man," he goes, "Hey," I said, "this thing gonna carry both of us?" I was joking. He goes, "How much you weigh?" I said, 250. He goes, "Oh shit." Part of my friend, he goes, he just starts throwing stuff out the door. I was laughing. He goes, "What are you doing, man?" He's like, literally grab some stuff and throw it out. He's like, we can't carry you. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't want to go. And he's like, no, you fine. I was like, whew, buddy.
They got it down to a science.
Yeah, they know exactly what they can and cannot carry. And
let me tell you, when them guys that fly those things walk around, they leave a line with something that they dragging between their legs behind them.
Oh, you ain't lying. I mean,
them boys got some stones the way they fly them things. Yeah. I'm just here to tell you.
The guys that do it, they might be doing a little bit of that dragging, but and I love you if any of you out there are listening, I do, but they might be a little bit short in between the ears, if you know what I mean. They're them same guys that they've been jumping on bulls their whole life, most of them, and they've had their heads smashed against too many gates.
Brave or stupid, there's not much difference between them.
Yeah, I've seen them jump when they should have had a parachute. And it's just like, hey man, that catching that deer wasn't that important, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And then them little helicopters, man. I mean, we flew them totally different reasons, flying and spraying. It was rarely big airships that we were using, spraying cutovers.
They use a 44?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But let me tell you something. When one of them falls off a water tanker, there's not a whole heck of a lot left that ain't cracked, broke, bent when everything quit spinning.
Yeah.
But they dangerous little machines.
Yeah, well, you can ask Matt, but it never happened with me or any of my stuff I was doing. But I want to say it's 5 or 7 times or something they've actually had them crash. I think at Faith, it's
no thanks, man.
Quite a few, and it scares me. And I mean, heart goes out. There's a lot of families out there that have lost.
Oh yeah,
their biologists doing it. And it's a sad thing.
No doubt. Those guys out there didn't play around, and they.
No.
How many? What was the final count of deer that they captured? That, which I mean, I get that it was.
I don't remember.
I know y'all were in the buck capture.
No, it was
just the deer capture.
It was just fawns.
Fawns.
Okay,
on the feed study.
Yeah, the cotton
seed.
I can't remember.
It was in the triple digits.
Yes, it was triple digits.
I mean, I know when you do the buck capture, they're up, I guess, in the 300-400 range.
Yeah, we weren't 300-400, but it was well into the triple digits.
I mean, and this would have been about 9 hours of flight time, I guess, 9, maybe 10 hours. It was unbelievable.
I mean, might keep up loosely nowadays, but I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming I think they carried on the buck capture stuff. I think, but
different time of year. Yeah.
Well, that and
for us anyway, when we were out there.
Right. But I'm just saying that project I think he told me it got picked back up, and they were doing from a different standpoint, but they were going to continue the buck capture. But now I can't imagine. I mean, I think the last time I was out there messing around with it, it was we were going 10 hours a day, about 3 days, I think. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we start at daylight till dark, and you're catching. It's they're bringing bucks to you just as fast as they can get you, get them to you, and you're processing them. I mean, you're weighing them, scoring them, taking the body physiological characteristic measurements. You're doing all of that, and you're trying to get them safely released fast. And I mean, just as fast as they can bring them.
Got to take that blindfold off, don't you, Corey?
Son, I mean, you aiming that at me?
Huh? No, I just remember that video.
Man, there's some more stories to be told about that stuff from back in the day. I mean, dead bucks, 200-inch deer, because people didn't take the blindfold off. Something happened. I mean, I've seen Matt Moore form tackle deer, and I have too. I've had a time through my dadgum love handle. But
I've had a broke hand in a deer trailer.
So y'all were putting them in trailers.
We were putting.
You were shoving them in that gate.
Yep. I was shoving one in the gate, and nobody had it held up, and it just whap and crushed my hand. Yeah. And it was one of those. I don't even think I said a word. I just turned around and walked off.
I bet you were a different shade of red, though.
Yeah, and I took my glove off, and there was just blood, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't good."
Yeah, well, that's I tell people get talking about it, and I was like, "You think you're tough? Go out there and stay about 2 or 3 days doing a buck capturing deer, and some of the stuff we used to do. You're gonna find out if you're tough or not.
That's it.
My gosh, when a grown ass 250-pound deer rears back and he kicks you right in the belly." You're going to learn something real quick, because it does not feel good.
Oh, I tell people the worst, and I'm going to use it here, the worst ass whooping I've ever toted, and Mr. Jordan Smith can attest to it, wherever he's at up in North Carolina these days, I think. We were netting deer at when we were at Auburn for that grad project there. And we were netting deer, and we had to get them down. They weren't tranked.
Jump on them.
We just had to jump on them and get them on the ground so we could trank them. And Jordan jumps on this deer that the other deer are in the net.
Yeah. And mind you, those out there, most people know who Jordan is. Jordan back then didn't weigh 120 pounds.
He didn't weigh as much as that Gold Peak tea bottle right there. He's 100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
But the other deer are in the net, and they're wrapped up. They're not going anywhere. And there was 3 of us: Will, me, and Jordan. And Will's got one of them down, and he's tranking it. And Jordan jumps on the buck. It was a 3.5-year-old buck. That all he had was his antlers hung in the net, so his body's loose.
Yeah.
Jordan jumps on his back, and he's like riding a bull. He's bucking on that thing, and he's got it by the antlers, and it's throwing around. All of a sudden, antlers pop off.
I ain't heard this.
Yeah,
story.
they just pop off, and the deer doesn't know he's loose. And I was trying to get it down with Jordan, but Jordan's on his back, and he's looking at the antlers as he's riding a bucking bull, and finally he drops them, and that deer turned around and he reared up and he hit me with those front hooves about 4 or 5 times, one in the face, couple in the chest, and he got me and Jordan both down, and I mean just had us hauled into oblivion in just a minute.
Yeah. If you make one mad,
good God,
he's got the wherewithal to go, you are the one I'm about to get.
They get you.
He's fitting get you.
Yeah.
You know.
And that one did.
Oh, I can tell you some stories about dads that he had in the pen too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's they are strong,
Dad
dangerous
had
animals.
one. I'll say this, and we'll go to the last question. Dad had one that was bottle raised.
Yeah.
And you know, if y'all, I'm sure both y'all know, they're not afraid of you at all. If they've been bottle filled, they don't care about So Dad is on the other side of the fence, on the outside, fixing part of the fence, and it would come over there and hook its antlers in the electric fence. Where he had just hot wire going across. Well, he would hook it and just pop it, you know, and just over and over. And if Dad moved, that deer would come down there and do it again. Well, it just got on his nerves, you know. Dad had enough of it. There's a scrap piece of like 1x laying over there, something, you know, whatever, that big around and about this long. And Dad said, I'd had enough of it. So I grabbed that scrap piece of wood and I put it through the fence and I was going to jam it in, you know, right there where its neck meets its shoulder. It's just going wham, just get it to leave me alone.
Right.
He said, I went like that, and as soon as I did,
and he's making a stabbing motion for you.
Yes,
listening.
you guys can't see. He's like, and that deer hooked that piece of wood and just yanked it like that, and it's just out of Dad's hands, like gone.
Just gone.
Yeah.
And Dad's like, selling you. You're out of here.
You got to go.
Got to go.
Yeah.
And he did. That thing was mean.
One more story about that same place where Jordan and I got our butts kicked. Same blind. We carried some students out there that were in wildlife, and look, unfortunately, and I'm not knocking you folks that are not hunters, but unfortunately, the wildlife profession is now primarily non-hunters, and maybe even in a certain parts of the world, wildlife folks are anti-hunters. They're more preservationists than they are conservationists.
Yeah.
And we had a few folks like that in class with us at Auburn. Well, one in particular wanted to go out so she could see deer up close. She'd never been up close to a deer. And so we net these deer, and we've got them tranked and all that, and she, you know, thinks we're just being awful to these deer because we're moving them around and you know the whole thing. And she says, "Be careful." And I'm like, "Yeah, they're okay. I promise. We do this a lot. We take very good care of these critters." Well, we had a buck fawn that we had darted, or we had tranked, and not darted, but got him, you know, processed and gave him the reversal. Yep. So we carry him off over by himself so that when he
wakes up,
when he gets to himself, he can get up and he can walk away without human impact. Well, she decides she wants to go over there and pet on the deer.
Oh my goodness.
That's waking up. And we watch, and, you know, primarily don't want her to get hurt, but it is just a buck fawn. Okay. But she's rubbing it and petting it and talking to it, and you can see it start. You know, the drugs starting to lose effect, and you can see in its eyes that it's like, okay,
I'm waking up.
Okay, I'm waking up. What the heck is it? What is happening? And when it comes to, you know, it was just almost split second. That deer, that little buck fawn, jumped up and just. I mean, I don't think Tyson could throw a faster punch. Just pat, 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 about 4 or 5 times with both front feet on her forehead and face. It busted her nose, blacked her eye.
Oh my goodness!
Had scratches on her face, and I'm talking about this girl is boo-hooing because she just got her tail kicked.
Yeah, I've been boo-hooing too.
And we were like, we tried to tell you it is still a wild animal. Let it be. They can hurt you,
right? Oh,
but that was entertaining.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, ain't no doubt. It's fun, but
well, without derailing anymore, we'll get to the last question here.
It's derailing's fun on that subject.
It is. I've got some others I can tell too, but not safe for work.
The girl. I'm not knocking on the non-hunting wildlifers either.
No.
I mean, not all, but the girl. Were you there way back when at the wildlife meeting when Jordan was talking and we were going to run the check stations in Tuskegee National Forest, and the girl from New York.
I don't think so.
We were going to check if they were lactating.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best one in my memory.
She goes, that one.
Jordan goes, and we're going to get body weights and we're going to, check lactation and stuff. And your hand comes up. She goes, Jordan, how do we tell if the deer we're going to be checking are going to be lactating? Do we just walk up and touch them alive? And somewhere she missed the whole point that these deer we brought in dead.
These are deer that have been shot.
And Jordan just looks at her and goes, yeah, you just walk up and give that a try and let me know how it works out for you. Because she wanted to volunteer.
Right.
And I think somebody after the meeting, she's like, look, these deer are going to be shot.
Yeah.
And they're going to be dead. They're bringing these deer in, harvested deer.
Well, and look, I thoroughly enjoyed being with folks that didn't understand, even anti-hunters, non-hunters.
I dated a couple of them.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Because look, it gave us the opportunity to recruit some people in, and I'll never forget. I'll never
recruit them in.
I'll never forget this one girl. I don't know her. I don't remember her name because, gosh, that's 20 plus years ago now. But she was not from the South. She was a minority, so she was a black girl. She was also lesbian. So, pretty prototypical somebody that doesn't hunt. Mm-hmm. And she didn't hunt. She was against it. Yeah. By the time I had graduated and been in classes with her for a couple of years, she was hunting with us.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've got pictures. Actually, I think I got pictures on Facebook of a friend of mine that actually had a crush on at Auburn, and she let that roll for a minute. And finally told
you had
me
a crush on
who? A girl.
Oh, okay. I thought you said
Auburn,
on
and we had mutual friends, and she knew it, and she let this roll on for a hot minute, like a year or more. And finally, one day came up to me and was talking to me and told me that she liked girls, and I was just like, "What?" And that we became even closer friends then, and before she graduated, she came up to me one day. She goes, "You know what? You gave me some deer meat." And she goes, I just don't know. I don't feel right about it. She's like, I feel like if I'm going to eat it and it's something that's got to be taken, its life's got to be taken, I need to feel like I know that. Like I feel like I said, "Sweet." She's like, I want to go. Will you teach me how to hunt? Mm-hmm. Take me hunting. I said, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll take anybody.
And I think she wound up killing a bobcat and 2 deer with me. Mm-hmm. I said, anytime you want to go, all you got to do is call me and I'll carry you. I had a couple little farms down there hunted.
Yeah, if you're an anti or don't understand hunting and you want to go, I mean, if you're close, and we were, come on, we'll get you in the woods.
We're extremely
we can't
good
promise
friends.
we're going to get you in front of anything.
No.
About like Brace, you've been trying to kill a turkey for 10 years.
For real.
Don't bring that up.
All right.
Well,
let's get back on topic.
All right, last one, if I can find my questions here. Sorry. Last one. If someone had to prioritize a management decision to improve herd health and hunting quality, where does buck to doe ratio rank? There's a lot of things that kind of go down the checklist of proper management.
It's really high.
So would you say that that's Maybe not the top thing.
Not the top thing.
Top 5.
Yeah, it's in the top 5, and it depends on your management goals. But always, habitat is going to be number 1.
Yeah, habitat first.
That's it. Dang it, man.
Properties.
Yeah. So that's number 1. Age, class, structure, buck to doe ratio, deer density. They're all going to be interchangeable in those next 3 spots, really.
Yeah.
Just depending on what you're wanting to do.
Hand in hand there. But
Yeah, they do. They're going to go hand in hand.
Your habitat's going to dictate
It's almost-
your carrying capacity, which is going to dictate
Yep.
your density, which is going to dictate.
Yep.
It's
Almost like you've got number 1 here, and then you've got
1A, 1B.
Well, number 2A, 2B, 2C.
Yeah.
They're all next kind of in line.
And depending on 2A, the 2B going to jump up to 2A, and then D is going to go to
they're just going to get interchangeable.
And it's going to change.
there.
It's going to be a never-ending change too.
Yeah.
As you manage a property, but it's important to say the least. But I think it would probably lie habitat number 1, probably deer density.
For most people, it's
And I
going to be
think
deer
if I
density.
had a gun to my head, I'd be like habitat, deer density, buck to doe ratio, probably 3.
Yeah.
That's where I would put it.
Yep. Because, one of the big questions that even during when we're not even talking about stuff like this, where are our bucks, or we're not seeing our mature bucks. Well, the first question is, do you have any?
You got any?
Yeah. Or how many bucks you got, or how many mature bucks do you have on camera, and, are they showing up here or there, or not at all? You know, there's a lot of questions, but they all are going to be secondary to habitat, but just in a big pile.
Yeah. Depending on what's going on your said defined area that you're trying to manage.
Yeah. And the big problem with that is your neighbors are playing a role in every one of those things except for habitat.
Yeah. And man, that is something nowadays, especially with people's funds that they are letting go of to manage wildlife, particularly deer.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that they got a little money. We just had one day before yesterday.
That's it.
He said, "What's fence cost?"
Yep.
And it's just like, he's probably fixing to do it. And I'm gonna have to
I
be the
doubt
one to go over and help him line it all out. But I mean, hey, it's your property. We're all about property owner rights. So
no, absolutely.
And protecting your investment. Hey,
it hurts people's feelings when you spend a pile of money and then your neighbor shoots every 3-year-old or whatever.
Yeah.
But the truth is, they got every right to do it.
Right.
They do.
They can.
Absolutely.
They do. But and that's what I try to preach to some of these people. But by people, and I'm not trying to be, down you degrading or whatever. But some of the people that don't listen and won't work with neighbors, as far as, I don't care what you do, if you want to manage to the nines, I'm killing the first buck I see. Okay, but you could potentially be cutting your own throat here.
Oh, absolutely.
With your neighbor, because there's a lot more people out there than you would expect are willing and can afford to build an enclosure and exclude you.
Right.
Yeah. And once that happens, you're done. I mean,
the guy that had the biggest impact on your hunting success has now cut you off.
Yeah. And here's the deal. And this ties back into what we were talking before we started the podcast today, is where we've got nowadays, where hunting has
It's a money-driven system.
And the thing is that unfortunately, what we define as hunting, the majority of the population, is expensive.
Yep.
It's very expensive. And, these guys that really, really enjoy doing it and they got some money to spend, they're not going to hold on to it. They're going to spend it.
Yep.
And
they're going to protect their investment.
And I grew up, we didn't have much money, but we also didn't have, we killed deer.
Right.
But we also didn't have anybody that was next door trying to grow 150-inch deer, but I understand both sides of the spectrum.
And respect both sides.
Absolutely. And that's kind of where I'm at. Well, case in point, and he's going to probably listen and know who, and I won't say any names, but a relative of mine, and, I grew up hunting there. They've had years of, it's politics and family, and we don't see any bucks, and we went through that in the 90s, and this, that and the other, and we need to start having antler restrictions, and we want to see, and they've evolved and gotten better, and I would imagine that they're managing at a quality deer management state at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I was down there recently, and they were, we don't throw these rules out the window. They're garbage. And I think in about a week there, they killed 5 or 6 deer that were 3.5 years old or older. There wasn't any 150-inch deer kill, but there was some, maybe 120s, but from where they are now to where they used to be, depending on what aspect you're looking at, is, millennia better than what it used to be. But now they're talking about wanting to change rules back. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on. You can kind of massage the rules a little bit to accommodate everybody. But if you go back on because you can't shoot more deer or whatever the reason is, you get 5 years down the road, you're going to be going, well, we need to go back to what we used to do.
Yeah.
When everybody was seeing bucks and killing bucks. So it's a fine line there of making everybody happy and that's the thing now is like everybody's trying to so hard and spending so much money to be happy hunting. And it's just like, man, people used to be happy just going hunting.
Right.
Not all about, instant gratification like you touched on last time. It's like, man, I remember one year I had somebody ask me, and I was a teenager, and they said, boy, you been hunting? I said, well, cat scratch its back, you know what I mean? Yeah, I've been hunting. They said, well, how many you seen? I said, well, I saw 3. They said, oh, you went today, you saw 3? I said, no, I've seen 3 this season. And that was toward the end. We just didn't have deer, but I was tickled to death. It's not all about killing all the time.
Right.
And now it's about, it's got to be a 5-year-old, whatever. And
yep. And look, I get in that trap.
Well, I do too, but
I'm not dare gonna say how much because my wife might listen one day. But the amount of money that we put into a couple of our places, I get frustrated with neighbors when they are the ones that are griping about we can't kill this, we can't kill that, we don't see this, we don't see that. Well, us folks that aren't killing anything aren't the problem. Y'all are the ones that's over harvesting the property that you've got. And y'all are actually impacting the rest of us.
Yeah, you're the one depleting the resource.
Because deer are a finite resource.
Oh, they're not unlimited.
Mature bucks that everybody that goes to the woods is hunting. I don't care if y'all say you can't eat the horns. I promise you, if you're going to the woods and there's a 150-inch deer walks out, unless you on a place that's got 200-inch deer, you shooting that son of a gun and you going to show it to everybody. I don't care if you can eat the horns or not. You going to ride it around till it rots in the truck. For most people.
And I'm not caught up on antlers. You know that. I've killed my share of big deer and all there in between.
Yep.
But I try to, and I've got to the point in my hunting careers, I try to enjoy the hunt. I killed a deer on public land the other day. It was a 3-year-old 8-point, and he was a turd. I mean, just doggone it. He was. I really did not get a look at his rack.
As good as
people
you
that
thought.
don't know me gonna tell them, comment and say, "Y'all, this guy's full of crap." Whatever. People that do know me go, "No, he's telling you know." I called these deer up, and I called this deer straight to my tree on public land in Alabama. I'm not going to tell you where. But I was hunting, and you can see looking at me, I'm not no little bitty fella, and I'm in a saddle, and by the time I had a deer coming at me trailing a doe, and those guys, out there, bucks this, bucks that. I hunted about an hour and a half, and I saw 5 rack bucks and 4 does.
That's a good day anywhere in Alabama.
Yeah, well,
I know where he is.
You know where to go. And I walked about a mile and a half to get there.
Yeah,
but by gosh, they were there, and this deer came up behind me and got my wind. About the time I got my big old butt turned around in that saddle, and I had about that long to decide this whole hunt's blown, or I'm going to harvest this deer. And I took the shot and killed it. But, man, that was an awesome hunt. I really enjoyed that. Being biologists, I made a big joke out of it. And I took a picture and I blacked. You didn't get in on that. I blacked the antlers out. And
how old is this deer?
Yeah, I sent it to our little group, and I'm like, "How old is this buck?" And everybody was like, 4, 3, or whatever. And then I showed the antlers, and they're like, "What did you do?" And I was like, I shot a mature deer in Alabama on public land, and it was fun because I grunted. As soon as I got in the tree, I grunted, and this son of a gun, I had 2 different bucks immediately that were coming straight to me. And, I guess I should have been a little bit more patient, because the one that was coming, that was about 100 yards out, dead upwind of me. If he didn't freak out, I might would have at least Euro'd that deer. He was a freaky, nasty looking something. I don't know. It was a mainframe 7-point, but he just had garbage everywhere. And he was mad about it. He was coming straight to the tree. But anyway.
Awesome. Well, guys, that'll wrap up this one. We went a little longer than we typically go, but again, you know us, can't help it. I'm going to have to chase a few rabbits along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, listen, thank you so much for listening and supporting us. We've seen a boost in virtually every social platform, especially Facebook. Keep them coming. If you got questions, you got concerns, shoot them to us. We're getting Instagram DMs every day virtually, just various questions, different things. If you need habitat work, consulting, burning, any of that type of stuff, let us know.
Bring it on.
It's not really anything that we tried to advertise when we were starting to do this, but it just seems like that seems to be a need. People just continue to reach out. And
got a little bit of time.
Yeah. So
and we've got plenty of other folks that work with us
that's right.
that we can send you to if you're not in our part of the world.
That's right. Yeah. So, but we really enjoy doing this. It is tough to do it when there are no dollars and no cents involved. So the more that support that you guys have, every time you share our content, every time that you engage with us, it's a big deal to us, and it makes more of a difference than you guys realize. So please continue to do that. Like, follow, share, all the things. Let somebody at deer camp know about us. We'd greatly appreciate that.
And keep arguing with us, because we like that.
Oh, yeah. Tell everybody that the rut don't exist.
Oh, let's what's old boys? We just need to give him a shout out
to Robbie. Shout out Robbie Glick.
Robbie Glick.
Is he the guy that did the invitation thing?
No. Rest assured, if nobody comments on a video, Robbie will, and he's going to tell us how stupid we are.
Go.
So,
and we appreciate it.
Okay, I know you're talking about.
Every now and then, he goes silent, and I get worried.
That he's left us.
That he's left us. And then today he reminded us, he's still there. Good.
Yeah.
Glad he's still with us.
Awesome.
So we appreciate you guys. And again, I know you're sick of hearing us talk about it. You're sick of hearing me talk about it. But hopefully, even potentially, before we release the next episode, we may hit the launch button on what we've been working on for what seems like eternity. So
been over a year.
Yes.
So.
We're fine tuning things, getting it all hammered out, and we're so dadgum excited about sharing that with you, and hopefully that happens very soon. So we appreciate you. And we got some merch coming. You guys have kind of sporadically asked about stuff like that. So we have some merch that we're kind of getting worked up. And whenever we get pre-orders ready to roll, we'll let you know about that. And hopefully you find some merch that you like.
Yeah. We got some neat stuff.
It's going to be sharp.
For Taylor calling himself or saying he's not the idea man, he's come up with some pretty good ideas.
Well, pretty sharp. I'm much better at taking an idea and running with it. I help develop things. I'm really not a great just idea guy, but we appreciate you guys, and we will see you on the next one.
Out.